Yobachi 2007 for Men's Mind State and Cultural Reviews. And we're going to look at this video from one of the lovely older ladies of TikTok. Before we do that, like, subscribe, and notification bell coming through the door. And then we're going to get right into this one. Let's turn up the volume and rewind this and see what's happening.
Story time. I've been dying to say that. So this is my first official story time. So I've been following a lot of divorce TikTok and dating over 50 TikTok. And I just want to say it's really nice to know that I am not alone. I was divorced in 2018 after 18 years of marriage, and I am 50 years old. I went to a day party, and by the way, my daughter thought it would be a good idea for me to share some of my escapades, if you can call them that.
So the first problem rears its head already. She's sharing in her dating life foolishness with her daughter. This is a grown 50-year-old woman, and her daughter is her best friend. She's probably not only are their son husbands, but they're daughter husbands too. A lot of these women use their daughters as their man, as their homegirl, their confidant, and everything else. And so this seems like to be the situation here. She's engaging with her daughter in this kind of parasocial dating world relationship where they're besties, when instead of her being a wise older woman guiding her daughter through the dating world and into a sustained relationship, she's out here sharing her foolishness about how she can't stay in a sustained relationship.
And you'll see what I mean by the end of the story. So I went to a day party last Monday, which was Labor Day. And towards the end of the evening, this young man and I bumped into each other and started a conversation. So the conversation was great. He was really funny, and he was tall, dark, and handsome with a beautiful smile. So he was charming the pants off me. And towards the end of the conversation, he said, I would really like to call you sometime. Can I have your number? So I gave him my number, but I looked up into his eyes and asked him sincerely, how old are you? Which he smiled and answered 36. So he said, why? Are you older than me? And I said, yes, I'm 50. And he did not skip a beat. He proceeded to tell me that, and I apologize for my eyes going all over the place, but there are a lot of police officers out here right now, and I'm on my phone while I'm driving. So he proceeded to tell me that he had dated older women before, and he was not afraid. So I gave him my phone number.
So here's the second problem. We got a young man out here granny hunting, and come on, bro. He's out here for target practice, which she's too foolish to realize, and that he's just out here for some cheeks, but she's going to find out the hard way, I think, as the story goes on. But yeah, stop blowing these women's heads up with this notion that you're really interested in them and attracted to them, because this is what it just produces, this inverted dating market. It's really inverted. Women get attention from younger men. They think that they then have younger men as an option, but they're not an option for anything but bedroom fun. But these women don't realize that. They really think these men are taking them seriously. They think they got it. They really think they're it. And what they are just easy pickings for a guy to, quote, charm the pants off her, as she said herself. And that's what that's all about. But really, you should leave this old kind of, these ragtag women alone. When they're that much older than you especially, it's just no point. All you're going to get is a lot of baggage and a lot of attitude, and you're going to see that demonstrated going forward.
So I said everything was good on my end, and I would just need the name of the spot and what time he wanted to meet. And I told him I was really looking forward to it, and he said he was too. Saturday morning came. I didn't hear from him, and I didn't reach out. I typically don't reach out a lot. and I don't text a lot. I'm more traditional, my dad always told me you don't chase a man.
Or are you traditional? Traditional women stay with their husband. Traditional women don't date men a decade and a half younger than they are. When women claim to be looking for leadership, women don't find younger men to be their leader, quite typically, because what women need to look up to their man in order to be able to follow him. There's nothing traditional about how you move. And being non-communicative, being non-responsive is not traditional either. It's games playing. It's trying to gain leverage. It's trying to be above him. And it shows she started off this situation thinking she was above this man for no other reason than just the fact that he's younger. Probably beyond that, there are other reasons that a lot of women even try to think they're above men when they're the same age, but you're especially going to think that when they are younger. Again, she's already playing games, and she's completely untraditional while pretending to be traditional. When women say they're traditional, what they're saying is they want men to uphold male traditional roles of what they are required to do, while women don't have to do anything traditional for the man. I mean, she thinks when she says she's traditional, I mean she wants tradition, not that she is traditional herself. Like, subscribe, and notification bell if you hadn't already, and we'll get right back to the program. Let's see.
So Friday evening, he texted me and said, hey, I just want to check in and make sure we're still good for tomorrow. So I said everything was good on my end, and I would just need the name of the spot and what time he wanted to meet. And I told him I was really looking forward to it, and he said he was too. Saturday morning came, I didn't hear from him, and I didn't reach out. I typically don't reach out a lot, and I don't text a lot. I'm more traditional, my dad always told me you don't chase a man. So, Saturday afternoon about 3:30, he texted me and said, hey, what time is good for you? And I said to him, well, that depends. If the restaurant takes reservations and what their availability is. His next response was, okay, well, I guess we can just do this another time. Which I replied, K, literally just K too. And the reason for that is I don't have really high expectations when it comes to dating. Because I feel that nowadays men really put little to no effort in.
Little to no effort? Ma'am, you just said you won't even send a text. 12 seconds to send a text to say, hey, what's going on, or how's it going, or whatever have you. How is sending a text or being responsive and communicative in a relationship or trying to develop a relationship, how is that chasing? That's being an adult and not playing games at 50. This is ridiculous. These women are ridiculous. They want to do nothing in a relationship. They talk about communication, and most of them, women like her, are the worst communicators of all. And of course, he had a problem with you talking about it depends. It doesn't depend. He asked you a direct question. What time do you want to go out? He didn't ask you about the reservations at the restaurant. When do you want to go out? When are you available? He'll check with the restaurant and see if the restaurant reservations match your availability. He asked you a direct question. You did not answer directly. You're playing games. You are the problem.
Him seeming like he was a little annoyed and saying, we could just try this another time. I really didn't know what to take from it, but I wasn't going to probe deeper. So as soon as I said K, he picked up the phone and called me. So I answered, hey. His tone was so nasty. He said, are you always going to make things this difficult? And I said, well, what do you mean?
She knows exactly what he needs. You can see the smirk on her face from the narcissistic supply that she's getting just thinking about it, knowing how difficult she intentionally is and was being in this situation, and gets a kick out of treating men like this and making things difficult just to be difficult, and she gets a rise out of the feeling of power she thinks she's getting from manipulating men and playing around with them like she does. But yes, of course she's going to always be this difficult. It is your fault for bothering with this through the wall old woman who just threw away her husband, I'm sure. And that's why she's not with her husband anymore, because she chooses to be difficult. She chooses to be distant. She chooses to be non communicative. She chooses to be indecent and to think that she's above men. And men don't even deserve to be in her presence and should jump through hoops for her. And even when he's doing the thing that men are supposed to do, he's trying to set up the date. He asked her a simple question. When are you available? What time? This is easy. And she has to be difficult about it. Now, he peeped it that this is a difficult woman and that she's going to continue to be difficult. But instead of walking away and blocking her and just being like, talking about setting it up for another date, he's like, he should have just been like, hey, Kay, if you really don't want to go, got you. Kay, I got you. You don't want to go. We don't have to do it. And we're cool. And that's it. Nah. See you next lifetime or whatever. But he's still trying to make this happen when you're already seeing what it is. Walk away, brothers. The most powerful thing you can do is walk away. And you'll gain your best power in the dating market by being willing to walk away. Just like in business negotiations, the most powerful tool in negotiation is the willingness to walk away.
And I'm talking to him just like this because I'm really calm and normally really laid back. And he said, I told you we were going to XYZ restaurant.
And she claiming that he had a nasty attitude. No, he just spoke directly and probably with some frustration in her voice because she's being difficult and passive aggressive, being nice, nasty, as Yolanda Van Zant will tell you about a lot of these women. And if men speak directly like men speak, they call that being harsh or nasty or controlling, blah, 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 all their insults. He's just speaking directly and being a man, and she's playing games.
I said, no, you never told me what restaurant. He said, I did tell you. And if you wanted to know more, you should have done your research. I said, whoa, you asked me out on a date. Just like that. I didn't raise my voice. I said, so typically when someone asks you want out on a date, you know, they do the research. I said, you asked me. And he said, look, I told you it was going to be XYZ restaurant and we were going at 7 o'clock. I said, slow down. Because at this point he was raising his voice and he was being rather nasty. So I said, whoa. He said, well, let me look this up right now. I said, no. I said, if you take a look back at the text messages, I said, you'll see that you never mentioned what restaurant and you never mentioned what time.
Or she's going to continue to argue the irrelevant minutia. All she had to do was give him her availability and this would have been fine. Plain, simple, whatever. But of course, the sign language. It's got to be shame, insults, guilt, and she's definitely got to be right. So she's going to argue back and forth on every minute detail so she can feel powerful and feel like she's done something by being right and quote unquote winning the argument because she's going to be more argumentative and think she won something. She's won nothing but loneliness with her dog, which here he is, and she's ready to die alone, I suppose. And so that's what it'll be, because it's just a lot of foolishness just for her to just act a fool when she could have just cooperated. But again, these Western women don't want to be cooperative. They want to be in control. They want to argue. They want to debate. They want to cause problems. And men, you shouldn't deal with the problems. You shouldn't be dealing with older Western women. For the most part, they are not very convenient to deal with. They're not cooperative. What's the point? This man did this to himself. Hopefully he learned a lesson, and hopefully we can all learn from him not to bother with these types in the first place. She's alone at 50 for a reason. Leave her there. Yobachi 2007 for Men's Mind State and Cultural Reviews. We're going to get on out of here. Like, subscribe, and notification bell. Click one of these videos on your way out. So if you watch a couple or three of my videos in a row, my new videos will surface to your front page since YouTube doesn't really send notifications to the bell anymore. I'm out of here. Peace.